human-caused carbon dioxide emissions, or what scientists would call anthropogenic. So the carbon dioxide emissions associated with combusting of fossil fuels or other changes in the landscape. And when you get that to net zero, meaning that any positive emissions from human activities are balanced by removals, that would limit warming. Okay. But it is emissions, not concentration. So we're talking about how much more carbon you put into the atmosphere rather than the amount that is in the atmosphere.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, because I know that is a common question that we get. So at NASA, we have an array of facilities across various climates, from our headquarters in Washington, D.C., Kennedy Space Center in Florida, to the sunny west at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JPL, in California, which is why we must consider how climate change will impact our own infrastructure. So now let's turn to Tom Nicholas at the White Sands Test Facility in New Mexico to learn more about how NASA is preparing for the future.
Heat can have a cascading effect on all communities. At NASA, the White Sands Test Facility, also known as WSTF, located in the southwest New Mexico desert, we get plenty of sunshine, but only about 8 or 9 inches of rain per year. Because of these environmental factors, we're always planning for the future and thinking about how to secure our facility so we can continue to meet our mission. As the energy manager here at WSTF, it's my job, along with the NASA Facilities Engineering and Sustainability team, to work with these unique issues to develop projects that can help improve carbon-free energy production, water conservation, and resiliency. To combat these issues, we are taking advantage of our hot, sunny days to develop and expand on our photovoltaic generation and battery energy storage yard. In addition, we're making improvements within our site and testing areas to reduce water consumption, with a large altitude test stand water recapture project. To improve resiliency, we are constructing a microgrid that will independently power our site's water system, helping us to conserve water. WSTF will continue to strive for environmental improvements to increase our sustainability efforts.
Thank you, Tom. The impact climate change has on managing facilities and communities seems very vast. So, Kate and John, can you expand on what NASA is doing to learn more about this and providing decision makers with that data?
So one of the things about NASA is we have centers and facilities all across the country, and each of those are facing different impacts now, and we know that with future warming, those impacts will increase. And so we're taking steps now. You heard about some of those in the video. At Kennedy Space Center, which is a coastal facility, we actually are doing mangrove replanting and sand dune restoration to protect our infrastructure and facilities now. But when we think about the future, we need to know what's changing and what are those impacts might be in the future. So we actually have a project where our climate scientists work with our infrastructure teams to talk to them about what might happen, and so they can better prepare. And that also helps us as scientists understand what information is needed for decision making and how to get that so it's in a more easily accessible form. And we've been putting trainings out on our website so people can understand what we're doing and how they can use that information as well.
You know, we talked a lot about today about how our data is completely free, open access to everyone across the globe, and how we're doing all these projects to get that data into the hands of people to make decisions. But we are the users of that data as well, not only the producers of it. And so that's a really cool aspect, that we're actually at NASA using this data to help understand the vulnerabilities of our facilities and how to mitigate those vulnerabilities. Because as Kate mentioned, many of our facilities along the Louisiana, Mississippi Gulf Coast, and the Florida East Coast are in some very vulnerable areas.
So we have some more questions from online. Marcus on YouTube asks, how much impact would switching our grids over from coal and natural gas to nuclear have on lowering our emissions?
So one of the major drivers of climate change is carbon dioxide, and one of the major contributors of that is from electricity grids. And I don't have the exact numbers on me right now, but that is something that scientists do look at, is how much more warming will we get from the grid we have now, and what would future energy systems mean in terms of warming.
Mia from Virginia asks, what